Happy Monday. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez. We have somewhat of a military special going on today. We've got Colonel Alan West here in the house. Thank you so much. You've been here multiple occasions, never on the show.
You never wanted me on.
No, we checked all the time. You're a busy man, so we're excited to have you.
Thank you.
And then we've got Mr. Jesse Kelly. Radio host Jesse Kelly, man of many talents.
Many talents, but I think I should clarify. There's only one person here that was in the military. We were in the Marines. He was in the
Yes. You know, I thought that we were going to be okay. But you know, I did spend 3 years assigned at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, as working with the Marines because I had to teach them math.
You must have been a frustrated man.
I was.
And then we've got Glenn Beck radio program researcher, Mr. Jason Buttrell. So thanks everyone for being on. Jason, what's your top story today?
I am extremely worried about the Second Amendment, not only because of what we're seeing from the left in some of these debates, but also from the one organization that its sole purpose is to protect it, and it's not going well right now. So I'm very worried.
All right, Jesse.
Justin Amash left the door open to run for the presidency in 2020. Nobody's asking him to. Nobody wants him to. He can't win in his own district, his own state. He's completely on the outs. Even the Democratic Party doesn't want him. Yet he's threatening a run for the presidency, and it just shows what an industry unto itself running for the presidency has become.
All right, and Colonel.
I'm talking about Iran because I think it's really interesting. Everyone is acting surprised that Iran is increasing the enrichment of the nuclear materials. I mean, what do you think the #1 state sponsor of Islamic terrorism is going to do?
Obviously, a lot to get into today. First, we want to thank our sponsor, American Financing. So if you are in the market for a home loan, maybe a refi, whatever the case may be, you got to go to American Financing. Glenn tells a story that, you know, they came to him before the crash in 2008, and they said, you know, we really want to do business with you. And he's like, okay, I don't do business with any of you financial companies. I think you're all sleazy, and there's going to be a crash, and you guys are all going to lose everything. And they tried to convince him we do business the right way, and he said, okay, come back to me after the crash. Well, they did. And they said, we're good. We told you we do business the right way. And they really do. They have salary-based professionals. They don't have to get someone who is just looking for the kickback from the financial institution, put you in something that is really not quite right for you. So you can go to AmericanFinancing.net, or you can call 800-906-2440 if you are looking for a professional who is going to put you in the right financial situation. That is AmericanFinancing.net. All right, I want to talk about Iran first, because I do think that is something that's really important that's going on. And I agree with you. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, were we supposed to be surprised that they weren't abiding by these rules that we told them they needed to abide by? Since when do we trust them?
Well, that's the whole point. I mean, you go all the way back to the Beirut barracks bombing in 1983, even before that, 1979, with the hostages that they took. Iran has consistently been an adversary for the United States of America. When you look at the operations that we were doing in Iraq, the explosive force penetrators, that very lethal improvised explosive device was developed in Iran and sent over for the terrorists to use there. 18 to 20% of the deaths and the maiming of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines were because of that. So Iran never signed on to this thing. And as a matter of fact, this was just a unilateral executive order that President Obama did. It was never ratified as a treaty. It was defeated by filibuster because of the Senate Democrats. Iran is conducting the largest form of international blackmail and extortion. Basically, if you send us money, if you acquiesce and can give us these concessions, then we'll try to be nice people, but not totally. I think we should also remember they put 2 of our riverine assault boat crews on their knees at gunpoint. So, why are we acting surprised that they're going to go enrich this uranium? They're starving for money right now. Because that gravy train that Barack Obama gave them is running out. I've read reports that Hezbollah, on the street corners, like the guys we see, holding up signs, give us money so we can go kill people. They're begging for money. And that's exactly what we should be doing. And it just unnerves me when you see our market reacting because of fears of what may happen. Look, these guys are bad actors. And what they did with that drone, that was an intentional thing. And we're going to have to deal with them and confront them sooner or later, like Reagan did in 1988.
Yeah.
I remember looking at we were talking about, I think on this show, their economic outlook going forward, and their real is just, it's destroyed.
Yeah.
It's trash.
It's just trash. Their inflation skyrocketing right now. We have them exactly where we had them before Obama signed the JCPOA.
Lifted the sanctions.
Right. We had them there. They were on the cusp. And then the Obama administration threw it all away. I said when they downed our drone, I was glad we did not respond to militarily at that point. I don't know if you agree with that or not, Colonel, but
The drone strike?
with the drone strike.
Yeah, I think that, again, you did the right thing by increasing the economic pressures, but you got to keep all those options on the table.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. But I mean, right now, don't get goaded into a war of words or getting too aggressive. Because exactly like how I said, we have them where we want them. Mm-hmm. Keep that pressure on. Mm-hmm. Keep it going. The Iranian people are smart. They've been smart for thousands of years. They're going to do this on their own.
I want to repeat something the Colonel said. One, because I don't have any of my own ideas, and two, because I really want people to get this.
But that's typical of the Marines. That's stuff from the Army. They always have done that.
It's typical. But in all seriousness, to what he said, it was Iran killing our guys in Iraq. Yeah. People remember that. Everybody getting blown up all the time, IEDs, secondary IEDs. That's an Iranian-trained thing, if not Iranian-funded, if not actually done by Iran in Iraq. So all those pictures you see about our young guys still wandering through the VA without arms and legs and messed up and burned, Iran did that. Yeah. That wasn't just Iraq. It wasn't ISIS. So Iran did that, and they did a lot of it. So I want people to remember who we're dealing with here. These people have actively been killing American troops for a decade.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I'm most worried about is the Israel factor on this, because I think it would be perfectly fine if the Ayatollah was sane, or the people that he has in his government. Rouhani's not sane. I don't care what the Obama administration tried to tell us about him. He's not a moderate. He wouldn't be there unless he was placed there by the Iranian, mullahs. He would not be there.
Well, I think people also need to remember the sect of Islam that runs Iran, that Ayatollah's in. They believe, without a doubt, that they're supposed to bring about the apocalypse. They're not supposed to sit back and watch it happen.
That's the return of the Mahdi.
They believe it's their job to bring it about. So when they say they want a nuclear weapon, they don't just want it so it can be a paperweight somewhere. They believe it's their job to bring about the end of the world.
And Netanyahu knows this better than anybody. The Israel knows this. The Jews know this more than anyone. So if they continue to enrich uranium, if they continue to ramp that up, how long we wait we can wait a while. Israel cannot.
Israel won't, because history tells us, they conducted a strike in Iraq. They conducted a strike in Syria. So no one's going to sit around and tell the Israelis, sit around and wait for your own death and destruction. They're going to take an action.
Yeah. How do you see this affecting the 2020 election?
Well, you already have seen it when the Democratic debates, when they're saying, well, Iran is acting this way because President Trump removed himself from the nuclear agreement, the JCPOA. So in other words, they're happy to send, billions of dollars, pallets of, laundered cash to Iran to placate them. Mm-hmm. And that is why we cannot have that type of foreign policy come back, the same strategic patience of Barack Obama.
Yeah. Jesse, you want to weigh in on that?
I have something really ugly to say about it, to be honest with you. I think we have to be honest about where we are with not the Democrat Party as a whole, but with a big part of the Democrat Party. This is not the JFK Democrat Party. It's not even Bill Clinton's Democrat Party. We have a big not un-American, anti-American sect of the Democrat Party now. A new poll just came out showing only 22% of Democrats are extremely proud to be an American. That becomes a problem when you're dealing with a bad actor internationally, because they don't necessarily look at Iran as an enemy. They may think, yeah, screw them, America does suck. I don't mind Iran. And that's an ugly thing to say, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic, but let's acknowledge reality about where we are here.
But that's not ugly. That was the Obama position.
It was.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah. Speaking of 2020, Justin Amash, he's left the GOP. He's done with the GOP. First, it was the Freedom Caucus. Then it was, I think Trump should be impeached because, from what I'm reading from this Mueller report, nobody else is with me on this except the crazy Democrats. But I think he should be impeached. Now, he's not ruling out running for 2020. I want to get into your thoughts, but let's listen first to what Justin Amash had to say.
What about the possibility of your running for president as a libertarian or under some other ticket? I asked you about that 4 or 5 months ago, and you didn't rule it out. Is it possible you would run for president?
I still wouldn't rule anything like that out. I believe that I have to use my skills, my public influence where it serves the country best. And I believe I have to defend the Constitution in whichever way works best. And if that means doing something else, then I do that. But I feel confident about running in my district. I feel a close tie to my community. I care a lot about my community. I want to represent them in Congress.
When do you think you'll make a decision about a possible presidential run?
Well, it's something people talk about all the time. It's not something that's right on my radar right now, so I couldn't tell you.
Jesse.
Okay, first of all, nobody's talking about that but Justin Amash in his mirror in the morning. That's for one. Two, libertarian, for whatever your bend, there's nothing less libertarian than embracing a crooked investigation by a FISA court that was either corrupt or fooled, and a foreign government's involvement with the Democrat Party to try to take down a Republican. There's nothing less libertarian than that. Also, Justin Amash couldn't pull 20% at a family reunion. He's definitely not going to be in the running for president of anything, but he is crazy like a fox because he's about to get bounced out of Congress. He's taken this radical stance. He's not going to win his district. He's not going to win his primary. He's not even going to come close. Running for president has become genius. It's become a really smart thing to do. Look at that idiot Swalwell in California. Nobody's ever heard of that guy before, and everyone's laughing because he's about to jump out of the race. Why are they laughing? The guy's probably got $1 or $2 million in his bank account. A lot more Americans know him now than ever knew him before, which gives him some level of influence in the public square. He didn't lose anything. He flew around the country to a couple debates, a couple rubber chicken dinners, kissed a couple babies. You end up with a fat bank account, and you're much better known. Running for president is a good gig now. That's why 20 people get into every race.
Yeah, Jason and I were discussing earlier this morning. We filled in for Steve Deace on here on BlazeTV, and we were talking about this, and we were a little bit torn, I will say, because Jason came out and said that he thought that it was awesome that Justin Amash left the GOP. I said, I don't think so. I don't think that the Republicans or that conservatives in general need that kind of splitting right now. I feel like that's what's happening in the Democrat Party, that they've got this old breed and new breed.
And it just doesn't matter. Justin Amash does not matter. He's not influential with anybody outside of the GOP Politico bubble. Nobody, not a single swing voter in the United States of America knows who Justin Amash is. That's just a fact.
Can I just remind you that the title of this show is actually The News and Why It Matters? And you're telling me that you brought me a story that doesn't matter.
Yes, but that's because I didn't read through all the details before you asked.
But you know, Justin and I came in together back in 2010, and I just sort of believe that he has been drinking, as we say down south, too much of his own tub water.
Yeah.
And maybe when he was trying to cross the street, he got hit by the stupid truck. You know, because once again, I don't know any legislative accomplishment. I know that he is very capable of chasing the headlines and getting himself out there and, you know, making this, you know, I don't know, delusional announcement. But his future is there is no future for him from a political aspect. No one can sit there and look and say, yep, that's the kind of guy that I want to have as the president of the United States of America. I just don't think that, you know, it's a publicity stunt, like Swalwell.
Come on, Jason. I was trying to convince him that it was a publicity stunt before, and he was not thoroughly convinced.
Well, I think I agree with everything everyone just said. I think it is a publicity stunt, but I love the publicity stunt. I love the fact that I read his op-ed, and I disagree with the impeachment thing. I thought that was dumb. I don't like, just to your point, that we need to stay together, especially with the horrors that we have coming in the next election.
You're saying you do think we need to stay together?
Yes, okay. Exactly. But I love the principles that he outlined in the op-ed. Let me explain. I hate the two-party system. I hate the fact that we're a two-party system. It wasn't meant for that. George Washington wrote specifically that I want there to be a little more variety. I hate the fact that differences now tear us apart rather than bring us together. That's not how it was back in the day. You talk about the Kennedy days, when you could vote for Democrat or Republican. You could go either way. We can't do that anymore. I think we need, whether it's the Libertarian Party, probably won't be, some other party, but I would love it if a very strong conservative, fiscally conservative, small government, call them radicals, way off on the, on the radical, like, Milton Friedman, Thomas Sowell type, I wish we could just have Milton Friedman, Thomas Sowell run that party. That'd be great. If Milton Friedman, we could bring Milton Friedman back, that'd be awesome.
But the problem is, and it's not a problem, but the problem is that President Trump, and I did not expect this, but the truth of the matter is he's governed so much to the right, there's no room to get right of Trump. I mean, if there is, there's very little room. There would be a far right challenger like you just described if President Trump had governed much more down the middle. But the truth of the matter, and I was expecting him to govern down the middle, if not center left, he's been right and extremely right on the issue that conservatives care about. So there's no lane. There's no lane for anybody.
What about spending, though? What about spending?
Spending is a big one.
They've not curbed spending.
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh,
They've done absolutely worse. And I think that's one of the anchors about the GOP right now. And that's why a lot of people don't have faith in it. But I want to come back to something you said, is that you talk about Milton Friedman, you talk about Thomas Sowell. The American electorate is not a critical, deep-thinking electorate.
Which is awful.
Well, it is awful.
I hate that.
But they like the sensationalism. They like the entertainment aspect. And unfortunately, that has delved over into presidential politics. It is about the flash and everything. We're not having deep, conversations about issues and things of this nature. And I think that puts us in a bad position.
Well, if I could just say real quick, though,
Last word.
if I can just say real quick, we never were and nobody ever was, though. We like to imagine these lofty former times. George Washington got elected in part the first time, yes, because of his reputation, but because he was buying everybody shots of whiskey in bars up and down the eastern seaboard. We have John Adams and Thomas Jefferson accusing each other of pedophilia, and it's always been nasty and factioned and shallow, and that's politics. It was shallow in ancient Rome and ain't different today.
Yeah, thank you for that daily dose of pessimism, Jesse. We'll be back.
Something that will depress you if you watch those old Milton Friedman, Thomas Sowell.
Before we jump back into the conversation, I want to thank our sponsor, Cruise Through History. Also, I have not gotten my invitation in the mail still. Jason, have you?
Still waiting.
Okay, so there is a really awesome cruise taking place. It's in March of next year. You got to book it now. Put it on your calendars. It's all through the Eastern Mediterranean. You're going to visit Croatia, Italy, Greece. What am I missing? Jerusalem?
Croatia, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's all of the amazing places. Think about all of the history that is embedded in all of those places. And then on top of that, you're not going to have to do it alone. You are going to be there alongside Glenn Beck, Bill O'Reilly, Stu Burguiere, Rabbi Daniel Lapin, and David Barton. So these are the history buffs. These are the top history buffs you need alongside you when you go visit these places. Can you imagine all of the wealth of knowledge that these guys have? They're going to be rattling off.
And Stu will be there.
And Stu will be there when it's time to go to the bar. Yeah. He'll be there with you at the bar. They've got a bunch of different packages, so bring your kids, bring your grandkids. It's going to be an amazing time, and maybe I'll eventually make it onto the ship. I think that we're rallying for me to be the cruise director. I heard. There was at least one person on Twitter who said, if I'm the cruise director, they'll go. All right? So I'm just putting that out there. There's the one. I could sell you one ticket. You can go to comesailaway.com to learn more, pick your package, see all your different options. That is comesailaway.com. Go book it right now. All right, Jason, you said there's some things going on with the NRA.
Yeah, I mean, think about the Second Amendment. Is there anything more that defines us as Americans more? I mean, it's everything. It's self-reliance. It's like, I'm not going to, I am responsible for my own destiny, safety, my family, everything. I'm first. Of course, we have a lot of other resources like police and all that are great, but it starts with me. Yeah. Starts with me. I'm so passionate about the Second Amendment. And I'm so worried about it right now. He talked about Swalwell. I mean, they used to talk about, for gun control, like the big ticket items were like, more, closing that loophole that doesn't exist, or more background checks, as if we need any more. I mean, stopping people from getting guns without background checks. Well, who's that? Everyone's already got it, unless they're breaking federal law. Right. So, I mean, that used to be what they would talk about, and it was more, I thought, of just kind of like, I don't know, they were trying to get public sentiment, to rally behind their cause, but they never really went too far with those. Now, watching those debates, we have people like Swalwell that wants a confiscation. He wants a buyback program. Biden actually agreed with him. Everybody else was kind of nodding their head. That's the consensus, is doing something like what they're doing in New Zealand right now.
Well, and it only takes one of them to say it, and then the rest of them feel like they have to follow in line because they don't.
Mentality.
Yes, and they don't want to be the one to look too conservative.
And it's a mandatory buyback program.
Right.
Remember, that's what Swalwell was saying. If you don't participate in it, then you are criminalized and we come after you. But when you listen to now the seems like the impending frontrunner, Kamala Harris, who said that I will use executive order to basically undermine the Second Amendment. So this is a thing that's part of our Bill of Rights. This is not something that government gives us and we can take away. This is one of our inalienable rights that we have. And if you don't have that Second Amendment, you don't have anything that's listed above it. And all you have to do is look at Venezuela, because one of the first things Hugo Chavez did was he banned private gun ownership under the excuse of curtailing gun violence. Exact same words we hear now.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, look, I've always been against this talk. We get some of this on the right of where there's going to be a civil war and the country's going to break apart violently. And I've never believed that. I do believe eventually the country's going to break up, just because that's the history of the world. Look at a map of the world 1,000 years ago. Look at it now. The history is countries moving, breaking up. That's fine. I don't believe it will be nonviolent if the left continues that. I believe that one day, it's not going to be tomorrow, I don't believe it's going to be next year, probably not going to be a decade from now, the left is going to send people in law enforcement to knock on your door and take your weapons, and that's when you're going to start seeing ugly things, horrible things, things that nobody wants. I believe that that's when it can get really, really nasty.
But that's already happening with the red flag laws. That's already happening. You look at these states where that is occurring, and as a matter of fact, you have had Americans that have been shot because people are banging on their front doors. They don't know who they are. They're law-abiding legal citizens. They go to the door with their weapon because they don't know it's the police, and then the police shoots them. So it's already happening.
Well, from all of that craziness going on or coming up in the next election, the one, organization that is there to protect that is the NRA. And I am a lifelong member of the NRA, proud member of the NRA. They are vital, crucial, gotta have it. But now there's a whole lot of stuff going on with the NRA. I just saw
about a minute here.
Just saw today that NRA TV was shut down. I think that the NRA TV, and hopefully I don't get too much blowback on this, kind of got away from what the NRA was all about. It's not a partisan thing, so we shouldn't be talking partisan politics. I love every single person that talks on NRA TV. I love them, every single one of them. But the NRA should be bipartisan. We shouldn't be picking one side. We're kind of leaving out. There's a lot of people on the left that definitely agree with the Second Amendment. But now there's a whole lot of things with Wayne LaPierre. There was a thing with Oliver North. I think it's time pretty much just, Wayne LaPierre, in my opinion, should probably just go. We should need to rebuild this back up, start again, get back to the way that it used to be. I know the Colonel has a lot about this as well.
And I do, look at his smile. He's like, yes, I do. I can tell there is a lot to go over, to be said here, and I want to make sure that we have enough time for it. So let's take a quick break. We'll be back.
Doing good.
Colonel, you made an announcement last week.
Yeah, last week, Wednesday evening, we did a video announcement on YouTube. You can still see it there, and also put out a statement that we would explore the opportunity to become the next chairman of the Republican Party of Texas.
Awesome. Nice. Yes. How's the response been?
It's been incredible. Been very good.
So tell us, if you could just sum up really quickly what you would solve in the Republican Party of Texas.
Well, I mean, the fact that the progressive socialist left believes that Texas is there for the taking.
Yeah.
And you look at our major urban centers, all of the cities here, they're run by the left. And we got to turn that around.
Yeah, it was terrifying to me. I never thought that Robert Francis O'Rourke Bob Frank. I never thought that he would actually win, but it was frightening to see how close he got. So where can people find you?
Westfortexas.com.
Westfortexas.com. We've got a lot more to come. We still haven't even really gotten into the conversation about the NRA. I want to get everyone's take on the military parade. You know, it was like Tiananmen Square over there. Overtime coming up next. BlazeTV.com. We'll see you there.